All right, so where I'm at is I took off the guns because I'm still working on it. They're just easy to pop off. But once I'm really done, I will, as I mentioned, probably just lightly adhere them with Elmer's glue. Dries clear, not really truly permanent, but it will hold sufficient to not be easy knocked off, I think. What I've done is a couple of things here up to this point. I'm still waiting for basically a couple more of these pieces right here, this inverted radar dish. It's about 4x4. That basically will fit over this, and I'll make something like this and put the guns over it. Like I think I mentioned, oh, this will be on the other side, but it'll go like that. But I don't know. That's just stuck in transit right now, so unfortunately I just gotta wait for that. I wish I had an extra one, otherwise I'd basically done, I think right now, because everything else so far, that I've done, I'm pretty happy with. So while I'm waiting for hopefully will be the last thing and I can finally call this project done. You can see down here, I used, if you didn't watch the previous video, I might mention real briefly, I used this barrel or container piece here. It's kind of like a basket or whatever you want to call this thing here. It's similar, I don't have it here anymore, but to the one that you see at the back end of a Corvette speeder bike. And I thought about this before using it, because I've seen this piece before at my other place, my kids' sets, and I was like, you know what, this might work for this. And they come in just they don't come in the dark blue gray that's like prominent throughout the dark areas in the ship, but the closest thing is the that they have is the basically what they call it, a dark gray pearl gray or something like that, dark gray, something like that. But so it's got a slight metallic sheen to it, very subtle though. And but I like the somewhat conical shape because this part of the ship on the engine should taper more than, I don't have the other piece, but if you look at the previous video, it's more straight. That I just built up using basically like these pieces here, but in the dark gray, blue gray, and I capped it with this at the end. Now the way this is done, I think the shaping is just more accurate, and plus you got the added texture with these lines, which I believe this part of the ship has something like that. I was trying to use, I think they call them the boat pieces. It's like a smooth, almost like looks like this, but with the stud, and it has the, it doesn't have the anti-studs on the bottom. It's actually the studs because it's meant to go on the bottom of a plate or something like under here. So I think they use them for basically to put on the bottom of like a boat so that it can slide. And it's like a flat rounded dome piece, just basically like that, but without the again without the without the stud, open stud at the end, and there's 4 studs actually on the back end. I was thinking of finding a way to stick it on, but there's no way that it'll stick on there, not unless adding some pieces, and then it'll kind of jut out more. So I'm sticking with this. I'm fine with it. I think it should be smooth really at the end, but there's nothing else that I can think of that can cap it. And I certainly don't think cutting it off is necessarily going to help. Well, maybe a little, but I don't feel like doing that. I think this is still passable for, this after all is still a brick built model, so studs and stuff will be showing, and that's just kind of one of them. But I think that's definitely worked out pretty well. I had to redo the back just the way that this piece is. There's like I believe like, well, whatever I cut these things out of, like these bars, there's one running through there that helps connect through here to another piece that like has a let me think. I think it's basically like a piece like this that's in there, but it's used to stick onto the inside because there's 4 studs on the plate inside here. No, it's a little bit tricky to pull off. So, anyways, just know that if you really want to know, I can try to show you, but otherwise, that's how it is, and I think it fits pretty perfectly. You can see it just fairly matches the general size or shape of this. And of course, this isn't perfectly round. Obviously, it's got some angles, but if you look from the side here, or the back side, sort of, it just, got a little bit of, that's to be expected, but overall, it's still a pretty good fit. This is mirrored on the other side, but I redid this. I didn't have this piece here. I had some other pieces, trying to do some kind of greebling, but looking over the footage, the reference images, it looks more like there are these pipes or some kind of lines or something that go across this way off from this kind of rounded area in the back versus what I was doing around this area. So I just decided to redo that and just make it look like this. And I think it looks fine. Just add some detail. It's not nearly as plain as it was if you go way back to when I was, did this and early on the build. After it was built, this was way plainer, so I fixed that, adjusted that. I also did the engines differently. They used to have these, if you look back at the previous videos, because I don't have the pieces with me right now. There are these cone pieces, which is similar to like what was used in like this part of the this Torrent Starfighter. Is it V19, I think? But it's dark gray, blue gray, and it went out with this. And they were okay, but I keep looking at the reference photos, and although the thrusters on this Hammerhead do have a slight taper to them, they do look more straighter than they do look tapered. So between the two, I wanted something that looked more straighter, and it looked more blunt, it just looked more, I wouldn't say blocky, but just more blunt. It didn't look as tapered at the tips as the previous were, what I was using here. So I just used this piece here and replaced those, and I put in like this, whatever this cylinder piece is inside here to push this, make these, I can put the, like I said, flames or thruster things, thrust coming out the back. What I want to do, though it's surprisingly sometimes hard to find, what seems to be common pieces are like basically like this. What you see at the end here, but there's like the thin, like plate size, that you can stack 3 of them, they'll be the same size as what's in here. But I wanted to do them in white into the back, and then I wish I could find one like that in a transparent orange like this, so that way this thruster will look more filled with like flames or fires. It's not so dinky as this little part right here, and with the white being behind it, and if I could get those in transparent orange, then it'll make that orange look brighter as when you're seeing the white from behind it, if you know what I mean. So it'll look a little bit more lively. This won't be just like a dark transparent piece in there. But unfortunately, they don't make this piece in transparent orange. Somewhat surprisingly, they made it in all sorts of colors. And what I wanted to do with that is make that orange and then make these cone parts brighter to make it look intense. So there's nothing that I can do. I don't want to do it in white, and transparent doesn't seem quite right. So the next best thing that's brighter than orange is yellow. So I do these in a transparent yellow in the center with a kind of orange glow around the outside, and I think that would look pretty cool, but I can't really get all the parts that I need. The only workaround, one thing is the thruster, like the end. I was trying to do like a transparent piece like that. Hang on. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about, just in case. Just doing something rather abstract here, trying to explain it in words, but yeah, otherwise this is basically what's in there right now, but in the dark gray. I just put some orange adhesive. I can peel this off. This was for when this was previously up here, and I switched it. But anyways, I don't want this. I mean, I have this in white, but then if I'm going to add something like glow, I put it over this, it's going to, you know, stick out on the outside, and I want that glow to be more inset a little bit, so I can't use a full-size piece. So these are average out to be average, but there's basically are like these plates here. Imagine 3 of them stacked on top of each other will equal something like this. But what I want to do is have just 2 of these on the inside, and then the third plate. I wish they could make this. They had this in transparent orange, but apparently it doesn't. They don't make it in that. So all I could do, I was thinking, is maybe use some rounds, like 1x1 studs, the rounded ones. I know those come in transparent orange, and just kind of put them right around here, 4 of them on the studs, and then I'll basically show the effect I think that I want from there. Although a bit of the white would be showing in between, but that might be okay. And then with those there, I can hopefully pull this and stick that, pop it in the middle of those, and then I'll give that effect. But you know, I would again try to get these in a transparent yellow. I think something just brighter, and that's about as bright as you can get, because there is no transparent white or clears. Again, I think that's just too clear. This wouldn't read as what I want it to. So the next thing is just that looks more intense than transparent orange would be a transparent yellow. So, or what I might also do, but I need to experiment, is instead of 2 of these and then the transparent plates, whatever it might be, or on top of that, maybe just do 1 layer and then do 1 of those, and then that way they'll be ever so slightly inset within there more. And this will also go in slightly, if you know what I mean. This will be just basically, these are 3, there'd be 2 layers, so 1 layer short, and there's all that just kind of slightly more recessed into the engine, which I think might actually look better. So that's something I probably will want, because I'm not completely satisfied with the way this looks like this at the back. This doesn't look right. I mean, if anything, these should maybe be black, then it looks more inset, but then these flames would be just kind of look like they're floating kind of on the outside. I just want more engine glow intensity within there. So the only way I can do it is the method that I told you. And I don't want to do that in, I thought about, instead of transparent, maybe do it in a solid color, like a solid, like bright orange, maybe something like that. And then what I do about the middle flame, the point of the flame, white. Again, that wouldn't look right, especially since you've got so much white here as the whole, the shell on the outside of the ship, and it's having white kind of poking out the back. It's like, what is that part of the ship body? It wouldn't read as flames. Anyways, that's one other thing I gotta figure out. And the only other change I made was this. It was like a blade which is a bit higher, but I cut off about half of it because it stuck out way too high, and it didn't need to be that high in relationship to everything else around it. This piece back here, and in relationship to whatever's going to be going on in the back here, is not supposed to be that high up, you know, up to about here. It's just too high, and it's pointed, and this thing needed to be more blunt on top like that. And what I also did was carefully take a knife and sliced off the back part, but at an angle, so so it wasn't so uniform, so it looks like it's angling this way more forward. You can kind of see that. Otherwise, you can imagine, you know, see where the blade used to be, because of the slight center line, right? How thick it was. You can see this focus is, see that center line that's on the side of that piece. I guess it's some sort of blade or sword piece. You can see how much of this back side I took off. Sorry, it went out of focus. And you can see the angle now, right? And this is a lot closer to how it overall should look like on the back of the ship. Again, it really should be somewhat inset into here, about a third, if not almost halfway into this, but there's no way to do that with these pieces. So this is the closest to making it look like that. And I think overall it's pretty good. Again, I'm very happy the way I ended up solving this with those. It's like a stud piece that they fill in so you can reverse the direction, and that worked out pretty well. And yeah, I think so close. Just waiting for that to finish up the cannons, and I think all this can basically be locked down and done. I do want to try to address the engines just to make the glow effect, or you know, the engines burning, whatever, a little bit better. But that's basically it. All right, so just wanted to give an update on the project so far on this Star Wars Hammerhead Corvette. I guess you can say it's part of the rebellion at this point. This is basically basing it off of the one that was seen in near the end of Rogue One. All right, thanks for watching.